Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks. It's May 30th, and we're ready for the last review lesson in this section, lesson 150. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will accept atonement for myself. Only salvation can be said to cure. So we will look at that. How did you all do yesterday with my mind holds only what I think with God? When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And heaven is the decision I must make. Did you see any relationship maybe between those two, and then how they connected to my mind holds only what I think with God? We're trying to have a new way of thinking, and we're getting some good underpinnings, some good foundational ideas that we can carry conversations on around these ideas in our mind and with each other. Just a few points that I wanted to bring out in yesterday's review. He said in When I'm Healed, I'm Not Healed Alone, 137, today's idea remains a central thought on which salvation rests. For healing is the opposite of all the world's ideas, which dwell on sickness and on separate states. Sickness is a retreat from others and a shutting off of joining. It becomes a door that closes on a separate self and keeps it isolated and alone. Sickness is isolation. So, there's that separate mindset. Just as forgiveness shines away all sins and the real world will occupy the place of what you made, so healing must replace the fantasies of sickness which you hold before the simple truth. When sickness has been seen to disappear in spite of all the laws that hold it cannot but be real, then questions have been answered, and the laws can be no longer cherished nor obeyed. Healing is freedom, healing is shared, healing is strength. Healing, forgiveness, and the glad exchange of all the world of sorrows for a world where sadness cannot enter are the means by which the Holy Spirit urges you to follow Him. His gentle lessons teach how easily salvation can be yours, how little practice you need undertake to let His laws replace the ones you made to hold yourself a prisoner to death. His life becomes your own as you extend the little help He asks in freeing you from everything that ever caused you pain. And as you let yourself be healed, you see all those around you, or who cross your mind, or whom you touch, or those who seem to have no contact with you, healed along with you. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And I would share my healing with the world, that sickness may be banished from the mind of God's one Son, who is my only self. Now we come together to make well all that was sick and offer blessing where there was attack. When I am healed, I'm not healed alone, and I would bless my brothers, for I would be healed with them, as they are healed with me. It is impossible that anyone be healed alone. So that was when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. We need to start recognizing that if anyone's sick, we're sick. If we're sick, anybody being sick should be our opportunity to see the truth in them, to free them from their nightmare. Heaven is chosen. Okay, and then heaven is the decision I must make was the other one that was in that one, that lesson yesterday. Heaven is the decision I must make. Did you make that? Remember he said, heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. It is the only thing we want. He started off in that back in the review 138, and I'm just going to point out a few ideas like I did on the other one. you need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you when there is really only one to make. Do not confuse yourself with all the doubts that myriad decisions would induce. You make but one. There's only one decision to make, and it's heaven. Heaven or nothingness. And you don't even have to make the nothingness. You're just there if you're not making the conscious choice for heaven. In this insanely complicated world, heaven appears to take the form of choice rather than merely being what it is. Matter of fact, he goes on, of all the choices you have made, of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, the prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. If you could decide the rest, this one remains unsolved. But when you solve this one, the others are solved with it. For all decisions but conceal this one by taking different forms. Here is the final and only choice in which is truth accepted or denied. Heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with heaven's help. And all mistakes in judgment which the mind that made before are open to correction, as the truth dismisses them as causeless. Now are they without effects. They cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized. The conscious choice of heaven is as sure as the ending of the fear of hell when it is raised from its protective shield of unawareness and is brought to light. So that's what we use, is walking in the light. If you're not sure what to do, just relax and walk into the light. Look at what is. Take your haven in truth. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. So that was yesterday's lesson, 149. My mind holds only what I think with God. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. Heaven is the decision I must make. Now we're going to go to today's. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will accept atonement for myself. Only salvation can be said to cure. Before we read it, I want to go back into the text, and I want to look at Workbook Lesson 41. Yes. The miracle acknowledges all men as your brothers and mine. It is a way of perceiving the universal mark of God in them. The specialness of God's sons does not stem from exclusion, but from inclusion. All my brothers are special. If they believe they are deprived of anything, their perception becomes distorted. If we think we're deprived of anything, well, then we got distorted perception. When this occurs, the whole family of God, or the sonship, is impaired in its relationships. Ultimately, every member of the family of God must return. The miracle calls him to return because it blesses and honors him, even though he may be absent in spirit. God is not mocked, is not a warning, but a reassurance on this point. God would be mocked if any of his creations lacked holiness. The creation is whole, and the mark of wholeness is holiness. Let's see. Let's just read that little bit there today. I wanted to show you what I'm getting out of the garden. There's just some curly parsley. I bring it in, just put it in a vase of water, and then just pull it off and eat it, And anyway, it's all looking nice. Little parsley. Hey, and something else I wanted to show you. yesterday on that yellow sweet clover, I forgot to tell you that one of the main I told you about it being such beef food. Cattle love it. Horses will eat it. Um, and the main it's got a really good property with the root system. It has little nodules on the root that a bacteria that loves to convert nitrogen in the air, which the plant receives, and or the I'm not sure where the nitrogen, if it gets it from the plant or if it gets it, but it gives it to the plant. It takes the nitrogen out of the air and puts it into these nodules, and then when you when the plant dies, it breaks down and leaves nitrogen in the soil. So this is a good soil builder, is what I'm trying to say. All right, now let's here I've shut my book in the wrong page. Let's go back to our lesson for today. Lesson 150. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will accept atonement for myself. Only salvation can be said to cure. Now, since this is our last review lesson, I'm probably just going to share today the main points that, and we probably won't review it tomorrow because we're going to have a lot. We're going to have a 3-page lesson. All things are echoes of the voice for God. And that'll be lesson 151. All things are echoes of the voice for God. That's coming up on the horizon. That's tomorrow. But today, my mind holds only what I think with God. I will accept atonement for myself. Only salvation can be said to cure. So let's just take a look here while we're. I've got some high points that I'd like to bring our attention to. And I'm just going to read through these, and you all just kind of let them be almost like a meditation for you, and just let these ideas, the high points of this as I see it. I will accept atonement for myself. Here is the end of choice, for here we come to a decision to accept ourselves as God created us. And what is choice except uncertainty of what we are? There is no doubt that is not rooted here. There is no question but reflects this one. There is no conflict that does not entail the single simple question, what am I? Yet who could ask this question except one who has refused to recognize himself? Only refusal to accept yourself could make the question seem to be sincere. The only thing that can be surely known by any living thing is what it is. And from this one point of certainty, it looks on other things as certain as itself. And look what he says about this. Uncertainty about what you must be is self-deception on a scale so vast, its magnitude can hardly be conceived. Whoa. But you have split your mind into what knows and does not know the truth. You are yourself, there is no doubt of this, and yet you doubt it. But you do not ask what part of you can really doubt yourself. It cannot really be a part of you that asks this question, for it asks of one who knows the answer. Were it part of you, uncertainty would be impossible. Atonement remedies the strange idea that it is possible to doubt yourself and be unsure of what you really are. This is the depth of madness. Yet it is the universal question of the world. What does this prove except the world is mad? Why share its madness in the sad belief that what is universal here is true? Nothing the world believes is true. It is a place whose purpose is to be a home where those who claim they do not know themselves can come to question what it is they are. And they will come again until the time atonement is accepted. That kind of points to reincarnation, but we realize that if they come back and we're starting to realize that it's a dream. So that would negate reincarnation, but in the dream, we're going to come back. And then, at some point, I'm not sure how you make the interface between the dream of forgiveness and the real world that gives way to God's grace, heaven, what's beyond our speaking of. We have a mission here. We did not come to reinforce the madness which we once believed in. Remember, ours is the mission of the crusade, the crusade of teaching forgiveness, of learning forgiveness, of being ourselves, of being at peace, be an example of peace. Anyway, let us not forget the goal that we accepted. That goal, and I was going to back up and I was going to mention. Remember, we looked at listen, learn, and do was the motto of his slogan for those of this what was called a crusade. More the way I like to think of it is a march of happiness, where everyone's your brother. No adversities. Let us not forget the goal that we accepted. It is more than just our happiness alone we came to gain. What we accept as what we are proclaims what everyone must be along with us. Fail not your brothers, or you fail yourself. Fail not your brothers, or you fail yourself. See, this is the great crusade to love everyone, to be kind to everybody, to see everyone as your dear friend, as yourself. Look lovingly on them, that they may know that they are part of you and you of them. This does atonement teach and demonstrates the oneness of God's Son is unassailed by his belief. He knows not what he is. Today accept atonement, not to change reality, but merely to accept the truth about yourself and go your way rejoicing in the endless love of God. I will accept atonement for myself, for I remain as God created me. We have not lost the knowledge that God gave to us when he created us like him. We can remember it for everyone. For in creation are all minds as one, and in our memory is the recall how dear our brothers are to us in truth, how much a part of us is every mind, how faithful they have really been to us, and how our Father's love contains us all. Can you accept that no matter what happens, it's your brothers being faithful to you, and that your Father's love contains us all? Look beyond the appearances is what we're learning in that. I will accept atonement for myself, my oneness with all my brothers worldwide. I'm one with everyone. Only salvation can be said to cure was the other lesson we're to be considering. And in that lesson, I've got quite a bit of reading here. I just want to read down through there, but I'd like you to think about it. Only salvation can be said to cure. I did quite a bit of underlining. I'm just reading what I had underlined. Cure is a word that cannot be applied to any remedy the world accepts as beneficial. What the world perceives as therapeutic is but what will make the body better. When it tries to heal the mind, it sees no separation from the body, where it thinks the mind exists. Its forms of healing thus must substitute illusion for illusion. One belief in sickness takes another form, and so the patient now perceives himself as well. He is not healed. He merely had a dream that he was sick, and in the dream he found a magic formula to make him well. Yet he has not awakened from the dream, and so his mind remains exactly as it was before. He has not seen the light that would awaken him and end the dream. What difference does the content of a dream make in reality? One either sleeps or wakens. There's nothing in between. The happy dreams the Holy Spirit brings are different from the dreaming of the world, where one can merely dream he is awake. The dreams forgiveness lets the mind perceive do not induce another form of sleep, as that the so that the dreamer dreams another dream. His happy dreams are the heralds of the dawn of truth upon his mind, or upon the mind. They lead from sleep to gentle waking, so that dreams are gone, and thus they cure for all eternity. Atonement heals with certainty and cures all sickness, for the mind which understands that sickness can be nothing but a dream is not deceived by the forms the dream may take. Sickness where guilt is absent cannot come. So there's some guilt in your mind if you have some ailment. Find the guilt and let it go, and then sickness can't come. For it is but another form of guilt. Sickness is. Atonement does not heal the sick, for that is not a cure. It takes away the guilt that makes the sickness possible. And that is cure indeed, for sickness now is gone, with nothing left to which it can return. Peace be to you who have been cured in God and not in idle dreams. For cure must come from holiness, and holiness cannot be found where sin is cherished. God abides in holy temples. Remember, holiness and wholeness, they're basically one and the same. He is barred where sin has entered, yet there is no place where he is not, referring to God. And therefore sin can have no home in which to hide from his beneficence. Oh, God's going to send us his beneficence, and there's no place that it won't extend to. There is no place where holiness is not, and nowhere sin and sickness can abide. This is the truth. This is the thought that cures. It does not make distinctions among unrealities, nor does it seek to heal what is not sick, unmindful where the need for healing is. This too is magic. This is no magic. It is merely an appeal to truth, which cannot fail to heal and heal forever. It is not a thought which judges an illusion, it is not thought which judges an illusion by its size, its seeming gravity, or anything that is related to the form it takes. It merely focuses on what it is and knows that no illusion can be real. So it just recognizes it doesn't matter how much it affects you, it's just not real. So it doesn't need, you don't need to say it's a bigger problem than another problem. It's an illusion. It's a nothing. Treat it such. Let us not try today to seek to cure what cannot suffer sickness. Healing must be sought, but where it is, and then applied to what is sick, so that it can be cured. There is no remedy the world provides that can effect a change in anything. The mind that brings illusions to the truth is really changed. There is no change but this. For how can one illusion differ from another but in attributes that have no substance, no reality, no core, and nothing that is truly different? Today we seek to change our minds about the source of sickness, for we seek a cure for all illusions, not another shift among them. We will try today to find the source of healing, which is in our minds because our Father placed it there for us. It is not further from us than ourselves. It is as near to us as our own thoughts. So close it is impossible to lose. We need but seek it, and it must be found. We will not be misled today by what appears to us as sick. We go beyond appearances. We go beyond appearances today and reach the source of healing from which nothing is exempt. We will succeed to the extent to which we realize that there can never be a meaningful distinction made between what is untrue and equally untrue. Here there are no degrees and no beliefs that what does not exist is truer in some forms than others. Let's read that again. Here there are no degrees and no beliefs that what does not exist is truer in some forms than others. All of them are false and can be cured because they are not true. So do we lay aside our amulets, our charms and medicines, our chants and bits of magic in whatever form they took. We will be still and listen for the voice of healing, which will cure all ills as one, restoring saneness to the Son of God. No voice but this can cure. Today we hear a single voice which speaks to us of truth, where all illusions end and peace returns to the eternal quiet home of God. With nothing in our hands to which we cling, with lifted hearts and listening minds, we pray. Only salvation can be said to cure. Speak to us, Father, that we may be healed. Speak to us, Father, that we may be healed. Okay, so my mind holds only what I think with God. I will accept atonement for myself. Only salvation can be said to cure. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will accept atonement for myself. Only salvation can be said to cure. I know we haven't reminded you much in the last few days, but we're supposed to be doing 2 of these meditations where we say these 3 lines and spend 5 or 10 minutes or longer. That's what time was made for. All right? So until tomorrow, my mind holds only what I think with God. I will accept atonement for myself. Only salvation can be said to cure.